Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Bucks, they're back in action tonight. So, we have had the return of Giannis since we've been out for the last few days here. Giannis has returned, which, good news there. Hopefully, maybe we could get back to picking up some wins. But if we go back, his first game against the Knicks picked up a 118-109 victory on Friday. Giannis in his return, 28 minutes, 30 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, because Giannis is just a flipping machine. And then Bucks coming out and picking up a comfortable victory against Brooklyn after that on Saturday. So right now we are a first quarter of the season in the books here for the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're currently 9-12. They're sitting outside the top 10. Top 10, we know playoff teams, that's 7 through 10. They do the play-in tournaments, and right now, if the playoffs started, and thankfully it doesn't, the Bucks would be on the outside looking in. So, with that in mind, how would you grade this Milwaukee Bucks season? If we did it individually, Giannis gets an A, right? Let's be real. Giannis is an A and probably an A+. Averaging 30.9 points per game, 10.9 rebounds per game, 6.6 assists per game. I'd probably throw Ryan Rollins in there, too, as an A, because he is just, exceeding all expectations at this point. 17.9 points per game in 21 games played. He's also given nearly 6 assists per game. So, I'd throw him in there. But I'm kind of curious to get everybody's thoughts on maybe Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner. Let's start with Miles Turner, the big free agent acquisition this offseason. So he is averaging 12.7 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game. If you look at it, so he is a career 14 points per game guy. Rebounds, he's 6.8. So he's about, actually he's pretty darn close to his careers. But he's coming off of last year. If we look at his numbers for the Pacers, he was 15.6. The year before that, 17. The year before that, 18. So, he's kind of from a points per game standpoint trending down just a little bit. Honestly, I'd probably put it at a C for Miles Turner. I'd like to see a little bit more. Now, I'm guilty of it. I'm sure there's others probably too. Maybe we had a bar so high for Miles Turner. And I always thought, for the last few years, Miles Turner would be a good addition to this Bucks team. A little bit of a stretch 4 or a stretch big man. That Brook could shoot from the outside too, but defensively could go out there in space and defend in space. But I probably had just these super high expectations when it comes to an offensive side, and I probably should have tempered them a little bit, because he's not going to be your number 2 scorer. He's probably not. And he's not really built that way. He's never averaged more than, if we use it from a points per game standpoint or a measuring stick, he's never averaged over 20 points per game. The most he's averaged in a single season has been 18. So I'm guilty of it. I'm sure there's others that, okay, from an offensive standpoint, I probably had super high expectations. But would I like to see more than 12.7? Yes. I'd like to see more of an offensive output. I'd like to see him get 16, 17 points, kind of where Ryan Rollins is right now, maybe. I don't think that should be too much to ask. Kyle Kuzma. Now, this one's interesting because 13.5 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game. Probably a C- over there too, because he is so hard to figure out. He is so hard to kind of like, okay, is it like November, 14.7 points per game he was averaging. From November 10th to from November 1st to November. He began November, I thought, really well. And then November overall, I think, was a very good month for him. Kind of some up and down performances. I mean, against Charlotte, against Miami, and against the Lakers. Those single-digit performances from him, especially that Lakers game, not great. But he averaged the month of November 14.7 points per game. October got off to a really slow start. It's just consistency is the biggest issue with Kyle Kuzma, and what's his role? Like, I feel like he's kind of like an unknown territory. Like, what exactly is his role? Is it coming off the bench? Is it within the starting lineup? What is his what? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to gauge a little bit. So, C- probably. I just don't know if he's a good fit for this team, to be honest with you. If there is a way to move him to maybe get, I don't know, a typical 3, maybe a 2, kind of that outside shooter, another shooter that could play on the perimeter, defend a little bit on the perimeter too. More of a typical 2 guard or maybe even a typical 3. But I'm probably a C-. Maybe that's a little too high too. But and Bobby Portis, I'm not a great start for Bobby Portis this year. And I think I don't know if it's just because he's getting lost in the shuffle here a little bit because there's so many guys that do similar things to him, like a Miles Turner, kind of like a Kyle Kuzma too. So I don't know if it's just that, because you look at it, his minutes are down this year. He's averaging a little over 21 minutes per game. Last year he was averaging 25. His points, I mean, he's at 11 points per game. Last year he was 13.9. The year before that, 13.8, 14.1. So, I mean, he's down in that production too. So, but is that because he's getting a little bit lost in the shuffle of things? Overall, team-wise, I'm probably at a D. And I know missing Giannis was a big loss, and that's when this team, kind of went down and spiraled and went on that losing streak. This team is built solely on Giannis, and this team will only go as far as Giannis can literally take them. They have proven outside, I mean, the Warriors game right now looks like it was a fluke earlier on in the season, but they have proven at this point in the first quarter of the season they cannot win ball games without Giannis. They literally have proven that. Giannis has to stay healthy. Giannis has to play practically every single game going forward for this team to get back into the playoff standings, for this team to do anything in the postseason. Because they have proven that they cannot handle maybe even just a couple of weeks without Giannis. Heck, even just a week they've shown they can't handle that. Nobody has risen. Nobody has risen to that opportunity. Has like, okay, we don't have our main guy. And that was kind of the thing. I think a lot of us were like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for this team to kind of get to know each other. A lot of new parts, a lot of, new guys. Opportunity for these guys to kind of feed off each other and maybe play together as a team. And it didn't result in any wins whatsoever. And that's what makes me nervous for the next 3 quarters of this season. Because you're putting a lot on Giannis' shoulders. By the time the postseason comes here, is it just he's going to be so worn out, so worn down, that he's got nothing left to give in the postseason? Because they've asked so much from him? Now, hey, I'm an old school NBA fan. Okay? To me, it's like, hey, that's the name of the game. Jordan did it. The greats did it. Kobe's did it. They all did it. But you look at this style in the NBA, and you just kind of wonder, ugh. But for every Jordan, there was also a Pippen. And there was also a Phil Jackson. Doc Rivers ain't no Phil Jackson. Kyle Kuzma, Ryan Rollins ain't no Scottie Pippen. And I'm not trying to diminish Jordan or any of those guys either, but it's just facts are facts. This team is Giannis and everybody else. Ryan Rollins has been great this year, but Ryan Rollins is not a 2. He is not a Robin. Maybe he could be a 3, but he is not your Robin. They need another playmaker. I don't know who that's going to be. I don't even know if they can try to get somebody. But as we get, after Christmas, which the countdown's on now, that's when I think, okay, now we start to kick it in here a little bit. I think after Christmas is when we start to look, okay, what can the Bucks package maybe a Portis and a Kuzma to try to get? And I know that might be rich for a lot of people's bloods. They don't maybe only like to get rid of Kuzma at that. But at this point, I think you've got to try to be aggressive and bringing in somebody else to be that Robin to Giannis. Luckily, a lot of games left to be played. There's opportunities to climb back in the standings. But overall, first quarter, I'm probably at a D. I'm probably at a D for Doc Rivers, too, D-. And I get it. Maybe his hands are tied a little bit, too, because of the roster construction. But the inability to find roles, for Kyle Kuzma, the inability to maybe get Miles Turner going just a little bit more. Some of the rotation questions have just been kind of, I don't know, questionable at times. There's no flow. There's no rhyme. There's no rhythm to this. So Giannis is an A+. Ryan Rollins is an A because he's kind of come out of nowhere. A lot of C's. Overall D for this basketball team. A lot of room for improvement and a lot of room for growth. But can they? Can they do that? I think my biggest question heading into the final 3 quarters is going to be Giannis can carry a team, but how much is he going to have to kind of give of himself to carry this team? It's all on him right now. It is all on him.